This is 6 Minutes, the seriously international daily newscast. It's Monday, March the 17th. I'm Anne-Sophie Goninet.
And I'm Jacob Shropshire. People in Hanoi, Vietnam are wrapping up their day, while those in Halifax, Canada are just getting theirs started. Here in the World Crunch newsroom in Paris, it's just after midday. These are the latest headlines. The U.S. launches new airstrikes on Yemen's Houthis, killing at least 53. Donald Trump deports Venezuelans, defying a court order. And our daily quiz question comes to us from the Polish Prime Minister. Our lead story today is the news that U.S. President Donald Trump has announced he will speak with his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin about trying to end the war in Ukraine. This comes following positive talks in Moscow in recent days between U.S. and Russian officials. The U.S. has been pushing for a 30-day ceasefire proposal that Ukraine accepted last week. Despite the diplomatic progress, Moscow and Kyiv both launched overnight drone attacks at each other's territories.
For more on developments in the Russia-Ukraine war, we have a piece translated from French public radio station France Inter about how negotiations may wind up depending on Donald Trump's mood. French political commentator Pierre Aski writes, "The Russian president believes his troops have the upper hand on the battlefield and can afford to take this gamble. Zelensky, on the other hand, was under intense pressure to give an unconditional yes to the US proposal for a 30-day ceasefire. He had far fewer options. So what now? Putin has not backed down from his maximalist demands, including Ukraine's acceptance of the annexed districts and a ban on Kyiv joining NATO. Once again, this is unacceptable to Ukraine, even though NATO membership is not on the agenda. EU membership, however, is. This is where things could go off track. If Donald Trump sees his easy diplomatic victory slipping away, he might be tempted to make too many concessions to Putin in order to salvage it."
Elsewhere, the U.S. carried out new airstrikes on Yemen on Monday. Houthi rebels say the number of dead has risen to 53, including 5 children. This follows a wave of airstrikes on Saturday from the U.S. in response to the Iran-aligned Houthi movement's threat to international shipping. Houthi leader Abdul Malik al-Houthi said the group would target U.S. ships in the Red Sea as long as the U.S. continues attacks on Yemen. The Trump administration deported more than 200 alleged members of a Venezuelan gang from the U.S. to a supermax prison in El Salvador on Sunday, despite a federal judge's court order forbidding it from doing so. The order prevented the Trump administration from invoking a centuries-old wartime law to justify some of the deportations. The White House responded that the order had, quote, no lawful basis.
New Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney has arrived in Paris to meet with French President Emmanuel Macron in a bid to seek alliances as US President Donald Trump continues to attack Canada's sovereignty and its economy. This marks Carney's first foreign official trip since he took office on Friday, and he'll next head to London to meet UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer and King Charles III. Now let's take a closer look at what the international press is covering.
Dark day for Macedonia, headlined North Macedonian daily Slobodan Pechat after a fire killed 59 at a nightclub in the town of Kočani. North Macedonian police have detained 15 people, including the owner of the property and former government officials, on suspicion of bribery and corruption related to the use of the venue, which was not designed for such events. Brazilian daily O Estado de São Paulo is covering former Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro speaking to thousands of his supporters at a rally in Rio de Janeiro on Sunday, calling his ban on running for office next year a, quote, denial of democracy. Bolsonaro stands accused of plotting a coup to overturn the results of Brazil's 2022 election. The right-wing leader is apparently positioning himself for a political comeback in the image of Donald Trump in the U.S., though he has officially been barred from holding office until 2030.
The Middle Eastern press is covering the first participation of Syria's interim government in an annual donor conference today in Brussels. The Syrian government is working to build support for a peaceful transition after President Bashar al-Assad was ousted in December. The donor drive has in the past mainly focused on supporting refugees in neighboring countries and had always excluded Assad's government over its role in Syria's civil war. We have a piece from German weekly Die Zeit about what researchers say could help young people psychologically cope with living in a world of escalating drama, which started with COVID. Professor Ulrike Ravensieberer says that providing structure, stability, and emotional security is crucial for a generation that has come of age in the face of one crisis after another. It's important, the researcher notes, to remind young people that not everything is as existential as it looks on their social media feeds.
We're closing things out today with our daily quiz question, which comes to us from the Prime Minister of Poland. What has Prime Minister Donald Tusk offered to U.S. actor Jesse Eisenberg to help him land the new James Bond role? Is it A, poker lessons, B, skydiving vouchers, C, military training, or D, martini mixing classes? The correct answer is C. In a tongue-in-cheek comment in a video posted on X, Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk offered military training to U.S. actor Jesse Eisenberg to help him land, quote, the new James Bond role. Eisenberg recently gained Polish citizenship for setting his Oscar-nominated film A Real Pain in Poland.
That's the latest from around the world. If you like this podcast, we'd really appreciate it if you could help us out with a follow, share, and a 5-star rating on your preferred podcasting platform. For more of the best of the international press, delivered exclusively in English, visit us at worldcrunch.com. We'll see you here tomorrow. À demain!